Hello there, everybody. It is Ebontis here, and we got another game going on. It is Monster Hunter World. Now, there's an introductory thing that if you play this game, most of you will see it, but just to not kind of take away some of the scale, it's kind of a good place to start. I'm actually kind of in the town in my little shack, if you want to call it that. And if you guys haven't played Monster Hunter before, there are a lot of weapon types to this game, which is kind of what makes it fun. You can play it to your style, however you see fit, and what feels comfortable to you. And I think in Monster Hunter World, they've, for one, this is even just on a regular PlayStation 4, not even a Pro, still looks really good. I played it on 3DS, and while I enjoyed the game to a point, it was just... I know I shouldn't complain about fidelity when a game is fun. I think this is one that everybody's been waiting for, and they've made some minor improvements that have gone a long way. So what I want to do first is go over just kind of the weapons with you guys as an introduction and just give you a general idea about that. And then we'll be going through for strategies for boss fights and things like that and just general tips about the game. So I will be covering Monster Hunter as a series, so let's jump in. So once you're in your house, you do have these palicos. They're these cats. They're kind of your interaction with certain things. You have one that'll help you out during fights, and then you've got this apparently housekeeper one as well. So anytime you want to go to the training area, it does seem to be like the place to go. So I'm going to jump into the training area, and I will see you guys in the inside of that. Here we go. Alright guys, so I loaded in. Apparently I got dropped off by air flight, which is cool. So there are different weapons that you guys can pick, and all of them work differently, which is kind of a cool thing about this. You again get to play how you see fit. So we're going to start with just the basics. Buster Sword, basically it's like a very large sword. So, as you can see, it's pretty massive on my back. Stats on it, attack is 384. You're going to have different stats. Sharpness is one of those things to keep up with even during fights. I don't have any affinity, no elements, nothing like that. These are all pretty basic weapons. They're just your training weapons. So, once I've got it selected, you can come out here, the Great Sword. And this is basically everything I got. So, this thing is gigantic. Now, the thing about the Great Sword is you are pretty exposed. As you guys can see, this is as fast as I can run when it's out. I walk about this fast. So you really got to pick your points when you're fighting these monsters. If you guys have ever played anything like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or pretty much any of those games where your attacks need to be very concise and like your timings need to be picked well, you need to dodge, for example. You can get a dodge in, but it's just not going to work too well. You see that yellow bar up above? That's your stamina. It takes a little more to dodge out of the way with this one. If I have to do it 4 times... I'm basically out. And when your stamina's out, you can't do too much. So, Great Sword. Got a couple cool attacks. I like using this post because it's not going to go anywhere. So as you guys can see, the attacks are going to be much larger. With this weapon, you can see charge. So I can hold it down, charge it up, and then get one nice big swing. 46. Now, it doesn't seem like a high number, but again, this is training stuff, so don't worry about that. We've got a rising one, so it's a big sweep. And then you can do a wide slash, so you can get a big area to hit. And you can do an overhead slash as well. So it's nice they kind of give you a training ground almost like a fighting game, because they're also going to show you a couple of combos. So if I jump in, press and hold this one, I do this, and then I come in for another one, and then I come in for another one after that. That's a huge damage chunk right there, 120, one of the biggest ones I've seen. But also it takes a long time to do that, and you're fairly exposed. Now, if I want to run, if I literally want to sprint, I have to put the weapon away. So there's going to be a fair amount of dodging with this weapon, which is kind of the way it's going to go. So definitely consider any of these weapons are going to be an option, and it may just take some practice to get used to them. But again, everybody has different play styles, and I'll show you guys how they work. So just a general idea of the giant greatsword. It's pretty cool. When you hold your guard, it even holds the giant weapon as a guard, but you can't move. It's not like you can walk around with a shield. So you can also have a combo with the lunging forward attack. So I just hit circle, circle again, and then circle again. You've got a couple big attacks, but almost like change position. Then you've got combo from stationary position. Circle. I've got the big sweep here. And then it's all about learning that timing. Because if I just hit, circle, double circle, I'm not going to get anything but that circle. So you've actually got to wait for all of those things to take effect. So it's learning timing for some of the weapons as well is going to help you be more and more effective. So that's the first one, big giant greatsword. It's actually pretty cool. There's certain ones I like more than others, but just for me it seems like they're going to be a bit more fun. Alright guys, so next we come to the Iron Katana. As you would imagine, big katana, But as it's on my back, it seems actually to be a pretty massive sword. It's a little more agile than the other one, but it's still going to be a pretty substantial sword. It's not more of a, I don't know, scimitar level. This thing is still going to be a two-handed sword, as you can tell, just by looking at it the way he's got to hold it. It's going to take a little bit of time to get these off, but not as big as the giant mammoth of the greatsword. So, basic combo, you guys can see it's 4 triangles, just the overhead slash. You got triangle, triangle again, and then rising slash. And you can kind of keep going with that combo. Spirit blade. Now this is the thing about the long sword. You have these like spirit blade things where you actually get to charge them up. So this requires spirit gauge. You've got the yellow and then you've got the red bars up there. So now with the spirit blade, and you can get a lot going on there. But as you use it up, then you've actually got to earn it back. So you've got to use these normal attacks to actually get some built up. Then you might have to like roll away, take a little bit, let the monster go for another attack, dodge, come over here, and then go for a couple of quick spirit blade attacks. And then that's kind of your big one, even though I keep moving past it. So definitely more agile, but still kind of bigger swings to it for sure. You've got the fade slash, which is cool. So pull it out. It's kind of a slash jump away. It's like if it's your last final thing, you can get out of there with a little bit of, hope of survival if he's about to wake up or something. Over here we've got the spirit thrust, so we're going to go big thrust there, decent amount of damage, but it's a big charge, kind of a way, maybe if you want to get into the battle, you can do this, charge on in, and then start going to attacks after that. So it's a way to maybe cover some ground. Then you've got your just standard thrust, and then let's see, so we'll do the fade slash combo. So we're going to start with the fade slash, jump back, get the slashes going in there, and then finish with the spirit thrust. So again, pretty cool weapon. Longsword definitely has more of a slicing effect to it. And there are different things that are going to be better when it comes to weapons. There's a weapon later that's a hammer that I'll show you guys that is going to be effective for, say, knocking a monster out. This, on the other hand, one of the things that you do in Monster Hunter is make your armor and weapons from parts of the monster. This is probably going to be a little more effective at slicing off parts of the monster as opposed to knocking them out. So again, different weapons, different benefits, kind of all in what you see fit. I guess they want me to put it away before I pick the next one. Next, we come to the Hunter Knife. So this is basically going to be your standard sword and shield. Pretty basic. Now, this is one where you can actually, you can have a little bit of movement while you dodge if you like lock on. You can, kind of shift a little bit. You can wiggle a little. If you guard with the giant greatsword, you can't move at all, so you're pretty much stuck. But while in your guard, now I can do attacks. I can do a rising slash and still get some attacks. Guard slash. I can use an item, or I can just like backstep. So I can backstep and then go for something else. So there's different ways to use the sword and shield as well. Now again, there are experts out there in the world. I'm going to be kind of learning this right along with you guys, but as I learn things, I'll be sharing my knowledge with you guys. So come along with me on the journey of Monster Hunter World, and hopefully we can do all this together. So standard abilities, you can just chop, 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 chop. And you guys can see these are much quicker, more nimble. If I want to swing over here, I can get a lot more off. The damage is not nearly as high, and I don't have anything that's going to hit for like 120 like that giant charge. But if I can get a couple in, dodge over here, survive a little bit, not be exposed, run, sprint away, come back in, you can pull it out, and go back in it. So again, it's a balance of how nimble are you? Are you going to make your attacks very deliberate? Jump in, get a couple quick hits, dodge out of there, and then get moving. So when you're starting out, pick something that may be easier to learn, and then as you kind of master one and you've got a feel for the game and some of the monsters, then if you want to go pick another weapon type, that's a good way to go back and experience something different. It's kind of cool. All right, so now we've got the advancing slash. You can put them together. So that's kind of like a jump attack. So going to come in, jump up. Now you're actually in the mix, jump in there, and then you can jump back out. So pretty cool. Now the slinger is the thing on my arm.
You need to load the slinger with some ammo.
Yeah.
Anything useful lying around?
Apparently not. So actually I have to load. Oh, I think it's over here. So R1, stone. All right, so the stone is this little stinger thing. So this is like a way to get any monster's attention. Basically just a way to pull and draw their attention. It's not anything you really think is going to be very effective at doing damage, just a way to get attention or pull things around. So you've got that, and then we've got your shield attack. So now if you've got forward and square, you've got to pull these out. It's actually just a shield smash. So, and then once again, they're going to tell you some combinations, but they're not going to tell you everything. So you can see once I do a regular shield bash, and then I can keep hitting shield and actually have a whole different combo in there. So I can do a couple shield attacks, which may have some more defense up, and then very different. Now here is just going to be a very different combo, powerful combo. So 1, 2, 3, back step, charge it up. And that one's actually pretty cool because you're actually going to scale up on top of the monster, maybe get up to its head, get on its back, and be able to do other things. So that's a pretty powerful combo. The backstack, the charge, and then scaling up the actual enemy. So again, pretty cool stuff. They're not going to show you everything. They're just going to show you some of the combos. Use combo to stun foes. So you've got... And then backstep, charge, scaling. And you can just keep going. So much stuff you can do. But you've got a lot more mobility with this just because it's much smaller. And getting back into running is a much quicker thing. So it's like if I'm running around, running for it quick, putting my sword and shield away is much quicker. If I want to get out of the fight and get to running, it doesn't take very long. It's not like I have to put the gigantic sword on my back. So definitely pretty standard setup there with the sword and shield. Hello, item box. There we go. All right, so the next one is going to be the match slicers, which is basically going to be your double swords. So dual blades, as you would expect. You have two, and it's, you know, kind of as you would expect. You're going to be doing a whole lot of damage real quick, but probably not a lot because you're not hitting with anything crazy. So basic combo, 1, 2, 3. So you can do a whole lot of damage. I seem to have issue actually pointing myself at it the whole time. So yeah, so that's your basic combo. Now demon mode is one of these things where you kind of go into crazy mode. So R2, now I'm in demon mode. Now I can do a whole bunch, 2-fold, 6-fold, and then blade dance. That's a ton of damage. Like, there's a bunch of little numbers in there, but remember, when you're in demon mode, it's all different. So now blade dance, I literally hit one button and it does all of that. Literally, those two buttons together, I hit nothing else. Now demon mode's out, has to recharge. So back in demon mode, demon ray flesh. So that one's pretty cool. So if you're charging at them, it's a way to get a nice one in there. And notice I'm even next to it. It's counting the ones that I'm next to, and then demon fangs. It's just a way you can get so much damage going real quick. It looks pretty, but I'm not hitting anything. So dual blades, pretty effective. You get your lunging strike. Just jumping in there. And that's even something that's not there. So just moving forward. I'm not in demon mode right now, but that's just forward and up. So that's the demon fury rush. Demon mode, non-demon mode. Double slash, pretty standard. Now combo while changing positions. We've got 1. Now you might need to actually adjust your positions. And just have some fun. So you can kind of get a feel for those, basically. You're going to be doing a whole lot of damage quickly, get in, get out, but again, you're never going to have that giant knockout punch or big hit. It's going to be just a lot of little damage all the time. So, again, this is why you just got to feel how you want to play. Now, here's a very different one.
A heavy weapon used to strike monsters at point-blank range and stun them.
See, they'll give you little blips about each one of them, too. So now I've got the hammer. So, big ol' hammer is exactly what you'd expect. It doesn't have a lot of options, but it is effective at what it does, and it's also good for stunning enemies, which is really cool. So you got overhead smash. Just a giant smack. Just one hit for 24. Like 3 or 4 of those slices were, you know, not even 24. So that one's obviously pretty crazy. Pretty straightforward. But if you knock a monster on the head with that, you're going to be, you know, having a closer and closer chance of knocking them out. So now we got overhead smash 2, and then overhead smash 1, 2, and then upswing as well. So pretty good combo there, a lot of damage. So now you've got charge from tier 1. I'm not entirely sure about tier 1, so again, I told you guys I am learning this, but I'm learning it right here with you. So you got this. So now you got charge follow-up, and then you can go back into your combo, still the upswing. 55 damage is a lot, and this thing feels actually fairly nimble. Like if I'm going for a couple quick attacks, I mean, I get some damage in there. I can't quite get out as fast, but it still feels like I'm definitely more nimble if I need to be than, say, the greatsword. So not quite as bad. Charge from tier 2, again, just kind of depends on what tier you're doing. So charged attack. So big bang, let's see what that is. Pull it out. Takes a little bit to pull out. So that's just big bang. That's the one that might even be like big bang 1, 2, and 3. So you got different sets of big bangs. Then we've got your charged attack. $49. If you get a chance where you like, tap a monster or they go for an attack that exposes them, you can sit here and kind of time the charge, be in the right place. They flop in front of you, and you put that right on them right there. That's going to be pretty much a knockout. So there's a lot of cool things with the hammer. It doesn't have a vast array of, abilities, for example. It doesn't change too much, but you can actually move while charging it, which is cool. Spinning follow-up, big bang afterwards. So again, there's so many things that I don't even know about these weapons right now, but they are pretty cool. So next one we've got is got the bagpipe. Now this one is actually crazy, and this is one of those that probably has a very, very high skill ceiling. It may take a little while to do some basics, but basically what it is, you play notes and you get little buffs as you do. So I'm going to pull it out. Now you can see up in the right hand corner you've got attack up, health boost, wind pressure negated, defense up. So you've got self-improvement, that's the single note. Play it again. Self-improvement, that one. And then if I want to actually play the song, I hit R2. So now I've got movement speed up, I've got some deflection prevention. Those things are active. So those are going on. And now that I do that, and then you can play the song, get your buffs. It's a weird one to me. It's interesting. I can see how there can be some huge benefits to this thing. So it's like you got self-improvement. Notes are up there. So you got this, 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 and then play this. So it's kind of a crazy one. So, I mean, it's going to be a slower one for sure. You can just see how big this thing is. But also you've got, so let's do combo including self-improvement. So you've got a charge, and you've got this, and you can hit R2, and then R2 again. So, a little bit of all that going on. It seems noticeably slower, but learning the combos, being able to buff yourself basically, kind of a unique thing. And that's, again, why so much of Monster Hunter is play how you feel, but whatever you learn and get comfortable with is probably going to be very different from everybody else. So now we get to the lances, which are cool. There's a couple that are really cool. I'll get to my favorites there towards the end. Lance is exactly as you would expect. If you think of jousting, it's pretty much what we're working with. But you also have a shield with it as well, which is cool. So you're going to be a little slower, similar to the great swords and stuff. So we've got a mid thrust, and then just keep thrusting away. That's kind of a standard combo. So the basic combo is going to be thrust, 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 and then that pull back, and you can keep going. So you've got your way to get a little bit of mobility in there. Nothing too crazy though. Closing attacks while guarding. So guard, R2, you've got your sword here, and then you can go counter thrust if you want to do that. If you get a chance to guard, get that shield up, take a shot, and then put a nice one straight into their face. That's a good counter thrust. You've got a high thrust, which is up if you got something taller than you. A couple of those straight up. The wide sweep, kind of similar to the greatsword. So a couple different combinations there. Endless thrusting combo, which is kind of a weird one. So you've got this and that, and then back to this. And you can just keep countering those together. So the R2, so the counter thrust, and then whatever you follow that with, can be low, mid, low, and then just, pull yourself back so you can get some room to thrust and kind of keep going. So there's a lot of different options to this one. And again, I'm going to have to see how these things work in action. But for now, just even in the training, it's nice to see that there's so many varieties for attacks. I really enjoyed Bloodborne and Dark Souls, so This isn't like those specifically, especially Bloodborne was a little faster. This is very deliberate combat is the best way I can say it. Whatever you think you are going to be doing, plan ahead. You want to know your combos, get the feel of your button combinations and timing so you can get the most out of your attacks. Like, if I just go up and get 2 quick swings and duck out, it's going to be a long fight, which is not really what you're going for. But if I can get the couple combos together to flow smoothly, I'm going to get more out of each one. So now we've got the gun lance. This is an interesting one. So the gun lance is exactly that. You can actually see even the barrel on it. It does have a gun, but it's also got a lance part to it. So kind of a nice little combination of both. Slower, still got a sword, so you have more defense. So guard this way, standard. Now in guard, I can do a guard thrust. Or while in guard, I can reload my weapon, which is speed reload, which is going to be R2 and circle. So if I want to reload, it's already loaded. Now I can do a rising slash, which is just like before, which seems kind of weak, but you can do a couple lateral thrusts, overhead smashes. See, all those things show up when you keep messing with combos. I got a little ahead of myself there. So, shelling, which is basically just a shot. It's not that big, but it doesn't go that far for range either. So if I'm out here, I don't get any damage. I have to be relatively close for it to actually to be effective. Reload's pretty quick, not too bad, and you're back in it. Now in guard, this one I'll only do it once because it takes a while for it to cool down, but this is why this is a pretty cool thing. So, I want to make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. Hit both buttons together. This is Werven's Fire. That's a huge chunk of damage. So, used most of my bullets. My gun's kind of lit up right now. I can do basic shots, which still got to be pretty close for. But this is also the point of where if I get a couple thrusts in, and then I want to get a couple quick shots in before I'm out of there. Now that's a cool one. It's the other one that's kind of crazy. So, if you hit a couple shots close together, and then you kind of hold forward, you do this thing where you basically leave the shell in and it explodes. So fire that one off. You could jump away a little bit and let that thing explode and then get some damage off while you're kind of out of range. So this isn't going to be anything like a gun or a bow that's going to cover much range. But if you like the, combination of a lance, if you're enjoying that, you want to get a couple thrusts in there. And so you want to turn around and go for rising slash, for example. Go for a couple shell shots. And that's the thing. It's like you do the rising slash, and then you get a couple shots in there. Leave that one in there. It's a decent chunk of damage. So this one is pretty cool as well. Now we're getting closer to some of my favorite ones. And this is just experimenting. I literally played Monster Hunter pretty standard, mostly with just your basic big swords, things like that. Now we're getting to some of the fun parts. So we've got the Proto Iron Axe. But in the grand scheme, these are the basics. These are switch axes. So it's an axe or a big-ass sword. So, first you're in the axe mode. Looks like this. So you got a side slash. So we're going to go up here to this thing. Side slash action. Rising slash. Overhead. So those are your kind of basic attacks. You've got a rising attack here, and then you come back with this. Come back with the wild swing. And just kind of keep going. You can get a lot going on right there. Now the wild swing, and you can kind of keep that going back and forth a couple times. 1, 2, and really just keep whacking that something for a while. And that's a decent chunk of damage, consistent, at a reasonable range. You can tell I'm not right next to the enemy, and still putting a pretty good chunk on it. Now the fun part is when you morph it. So you've got the basic combo, so we're going to jump up in here with the forward slash, and get a couple of these big ones going. Nice chunk of damage. Now, as I was saying, okay, axe combo into sword mode. So I'm going to start doing this. I'm doing my wild swing. Crap, I need to get a little closer. So, wild swing, just keep doing that one. Now, when you go into sword mode is when it gets fun. So now I'm going to hit R2. Now I'm in sword mode. So the thing is cool, bigger, glowing. And there's also an element discharge. So now I'm in sword mode. So I've got sword overhead slash. I can keep doing those rising slashes. Things even longer than you'd think it should be. It's gigantic, which is awesome, by the way. You've got elemental discharge, which is kind of just unleashing some elemental damage to it. And we've morphed back to the switch axe. If I want to go back to Sword takes a little bit of work. Now I'm back to the sword. Now I can do the double slash. And you can even tell when I attack, I'm leaving damage left over. That elemental damage is leaving extra fire damage on it. So now combo during an opening. So you got 1, 2. So, and then you kind of have to charge it back up. So use the axe. Kind of get the infinite swing going here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you get to the point where you can switch. I'm good for that sword mode. You can see it up in the very top. Take a minute. You can regain. You can see the upper left corner. It's actually charging up the sword ability. So you're charging up your damage. Jump back in. Give me a little infinite swings here. Give me a big swing over the top. Back to the swing. Another over the top swing. Couple ones. Now we're pretty much full. Stamina's almost there. So we're going to try this sword combo during an opening. So 1, 2, 3. Double swing here. And then you can switch it over. Double slash. Elemental discharge. So honestly, that right there to me just looks like a ton of fun. And where else do you get to hold something that gigantic and ridiculous? And even when you make it small, it's still a pretty giant axe. So this is one of the ones I'm definitely going to experiment with first, just because I seem to be relatively, I mean, it's not too bad to put away. It looks ridiculous on my back, of course. But, you know, pulling it out, getting ready, it's pretty quick for a quick attack. And that's one thing you guys may not have experienced. So, whetstones will sharpen your weapons. You can see up in the upper left up there, it's got a red color to it right below my stamina bar. When I'm done, now it's up to yellow, so it's sharp again. So, something you have to watch as you fight monsters. Your weapons get dull, you have to sharpen them. Couple more, and then I will wrap up this video for you guys. Now we got the Proto Commission Axe, which is really the charge blade. This is one I'm not quite as good with, but I'll have to learn. So, you've got a sword, which is kind of medium in size, and also a pretty beefy shield. So, we've got weak slash, kind of returning stroke, couple different spinning slashes, so that's a pretty standard combo. Basic combo, you've got forward slash, spinning slash, return stroke, it's your basic combo. Okay, sword, boost, combo to boost sword mode. So now you've got circle. And now, so you guys can see it's kind of, so you're going to morph this thing into a giant crazy sword. So, you go into guard, pretty standard guard, but you can move around a little bit in it. That great sword is the only one where you're truly like kind of locked in. Now, this is where you're going to morph. So, you see up in the upper left corner, you've got little, they look like little vials or milk cartons or milk jugs, whatever you want to call them. As you do damage, you're working on building those up. You can see they're changing colors, things like that. So what I want to do, so I'm charging those. So I'm like kind of basically sticking those into it to charge the files so I can actually kind of get ready to get to a different level. Now they're charged again. Charge those up. So all that's basically charged into the sword. So now when I want to switch over to the morph slash, I'm going to go 1, 2, and now I've got this gigantic thing to swing around, which is kind of ridiculous, but awesome. And now it's got like a lightning effect to it. And then when it's done, I go back to my sword. So this is why it's the charge blade. So it's a point where you kind of need to pick where you want to go for the beast mode shot when you get more of a knockdown punch. Or if you're in close here, you can do this. But you've also got the option to guard if you need to, take a little bit of damage. It's a little bit versatile, but also fun. I love these ones that switch to from like a sword and shield to some giant crazy thing. They're ridiculous and fun. We've got the Iron Blade, which is the insect glaive, which is cool. This one is pretty much one of all its own. There's not really anything else like it. So first you're going to have you've got a little marker. I'm going to fire it over there. You've got a little bug. So, Kinsect. Basically what the bug does, it goes in and kind of attacks. So I can basically aim marker, fire it at it. And then I've got the Kinsect to, go and attack it. So, and it's going to go there, and it's kind of a thing that's going to help you do some things. Go in there for an attack. Hang around, go in there for an attack. So it's doing that. Then you've got the option, and it's only got a certain amount of life. So then you've still got the option to have a pretty cool, basically, pole arm staff. So you're still doing a decent amount of damage with all these combos, running around, jumping, sweeping combos, all this stuff. And it just looks like you're kind of Darth Maul doing his thing with the double lightsaber, getting some nice, cool, sweeping, spinning stuff. Another cool one that no other thing does is this. So if you want to be a gymnast and kind of a skyrocketing crazy person and get a little verticality, or if somebody's running at you and you get out of there quick, and that's a mid-air evade on top of that. So you're up here, hit it again, get a little evasion. So this is going to be one that's going to allow you to be a little more mobile. I don't know all the details on the little Kinsect guy, so you can mark him, and he's in there kind of doing his thing. And if I want to hit fire, I can do that. Hit up. So, lots of fun with this one, pretty cool, and then when you're done, pull them on back. But the vaulting, honestly, kind of some of the cooler looking ones, because you feel like Darth Maul. The last couple ones we'll get to are actually most of your ranged weapons. They have mostly a similar feel, but it's nice you can be mobile while using them. We've got a chain gun, big and minigun, and a bow. So, first is going to be the chain blitz. This is going to be the light bow gun. They say bow gun, but it's definitely a gun. So, pull out your weapon. You can still run around with it. You can be relatively mobile, which is nice if this is your playstyle, and just get a couple shots in there. You got kind of a triple shot burst with this one. And then again, even at range, may not hit quite as hard. You're going to have to aim the bullets a little bit. Not as effective at range, so it's not going to be quite as effective from far away. You've got this place Werven Beast. Now, that looks kind of weird, but basically the way it works, if I can get this thing to roll that direction, it'd be nice. If it will roll on it, you'll look for number 27. So there it is, the 27. When it rolls over that, basically it's like a little mini trap and kind of a little fire thing. So place a couple of those down around on the ground. You basically got 3 of them. You can see them in the bottom right corner. And as things would move around, as you have him run around or do whatever you need to do, then those are going to be part of your way to do damage to it. And then as they get closer to it, just kind of what you got to do. So reload. I mean, up close, you get a decent amount of damage. Melee attack. Not going to do a ton. I mean, 20 is decent, but it's not really your way of playing this one. So it seems like the Werven Blast, and then there's other things. So these seem to be, I mean, there may be certain monsters where you're not going to want to get up close, and this is just a way to have a slow but longer controlled fight. So not one of my favorites, at least from my experience thus far. Then we've got the Iron Assault. Now, this is going to be your bigger gun. This is your heavy bow gun. Little different. Melee attack will still be the same. So melee attack still there. You can even notice it's, 4 more damage. I'm also running slower, so again, mobility trade-offs for damage, of course, kind of be consistent. And this is going to be a single shot, but doing 6 at a time. It's kind of like a little mini cannon. That's just the way that one works. Fired, it explodes, and then quick reload. Now, the bowguns have special ammo as well, and this is the one thing I hadn't got to yet. So down here, so we've got special ammo. Now this is when this thing turns into fun. Now, if you want to unload on something, you can move and still fire all of this stuff. You can't move fast, but if you unload this entire thing... Now, you can't do that all the time, and your ammo is going to be something that you'll have to pick up and learn. And you can see the little blue gauge is going to reload. And that's just normal ammo, but down below you've got normal, piercing ammo, tranquilizing ammo, receiver, sticky, all this crazy stuff. So, say I want to load that in there. But I've got to wait a little while, so... Werven ammo. All those different things. But those are the different ammos you can use. So, bowgun ammo that captures monsters and snared traps. You've got normal ammo 1, normal ammo 2, piercing ammo. So, deals armor piercing ammo that come back multiple hits to some monsters. So, if it goes through them, hits them on both sides, whatever. So, the ammo is going to be part of the game on any of the guns and weapons and ranged weapons. So, again, if you like the inventory management and working on those things, you could probably be pretty effective at range too, but unloading that machine gun feels really good. Finally, we've got the bow. Now, upgrades I know from previous games, while you're aiming, you can actually move now, which is nice. So, bow looks pretty cool, but you can pull it out, but you can actually move. Before you were pretty much locked in. And depending on how much you charge it up, you got one, turns into kind of a triple shot, and you get some decent damage on it. Now you've got a special shot. The special shot is more of a close range, like kind of a quick burst. Now that's one thing that's kind of hard to see. So let me do this. So we've got the arc shot. I got it. So there's the arc shot. So it's 3 in a row. So you got the quick shot and then the power shot. Let's do that. So that's a double quick shot. I mean, decent chunk of damage pretty fast. Now then, what that one does is basically explodes from above and drops damage. It doesn't drop a ton. There are a whole bunch of ones, but if you've got little things or a distraction needed, it could be kind of cool. Now, Dragon Piercer is a whole different animal. So you want to kind of be aiming at what you're going for. And this is like your big giant charge up shot. Now, it doesn't look like it's doing that much there because it's only 15 damage. But let's try it again up close. So, but the idea with the Piercer, it's going to be something that's going to do more. Now, again, you've got power coating. So use and remove coatings. So now I've got the coating applied. Hitting for a little more damage. So that's actually going to change things up a little bit as well. So now I've got this giant charge. A little more damage as well. So those coatings are going to make a difference. Charge shot is always kind of cool if you want to aim it. But the fact that you can move with the bow is definitely something I heard is vastly improved, as opposed to just being stuck and only getting so much out there. You can just unload a lot of damage. I mean, you're not limited on arrows or anything like that so much. It's kind of more of a, infinite energy ammo situation. So it doesn't seem like there's as many things, like I'm not going to switch from a bow axe or anything like that. But if you get a really cool bow made, it actually seems like a pretty useful thing to use. So that is pretty much all the weapons that you're going to have an option for. So that is the training area as well. So I didn't want to cover the basic story with you guys. If you play it, you'll play the intro just like we all did. There's other weapons and armor and things like that you'll get in there. But that is the intro to the weapons. So honestly, I would spend some time. You're going to have plenty of hours in this game. Figure out what you like. Just what feels good to you. Honestly, for me, it's probably going to be this giant switch axe. I think it's fun. I like the options I get. I mean, if I've got to go for the deliberate damage, but I can go for something big and fun like this. And then I can switch this thing into the giant sword. And then have a whole lot of fun here with all these crazy slashes. I mean, just by hitting a whole bunch of buttons there, I feel like I'm doing pretty awesome. And if nothing else, I kind of feel like a badass looking like this. If only this was one of those 3D movies, this would look pretty cool right here. This would be the pan where it comes out of the screen and then back. But that is where I will leave you guys for now. Intro to Monster Hunter and all the world of its weapons. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one and the series to come. Let me know if you guys have questions. But I will be kind of learning this one along with you guys. But as I get tips or beat a boss, I will definitely cover that one with you. So thank you guys for tuning in. And wherever you guys are at around the world, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. You guys know where to find me as well. So Twitch, Twitter, YouTube right here. It's Ebontis everywhere if you want to look for me. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. It is very appreciated. Helps the channel. Share it with friends if they just want to kind of get an idea what they're getting into. I'll get a couple more intro videos coming. And then outside of that, have some fun. Hunt those monsters. Guardians, if you guys are checking me out, hopefully you guys enjoy this series as well. So have a good one. I'll see you soon.